Question 1. How have recent historical events affected the course of research in organizational psychology? Give an example of an event and resulting outcome. First, I would like to provide an example from the Bible, and I would like to come out of the book of Exodus, chapter 18, verses 1 through 27. This example consisted of the Midianite priest Jethro and his son-in-law, which was Moses. And Jethro provided, or advised Moses of how to organize and staff the Israelites. So going towards the more, the recent historical, we'll start with how Mustenberg, Bigham, Scott, and Taylor were all pioneers of industrial and organizational psychology. Mainly during that time, it was a focus on personnel selection and skill acquisition. World War II was an event that I would like to review back in the 1940s. They had a huge impact because during that time, the factories were being emptied because the men were being drafted or left for the military. So the women had to step in to cover some of the factory positions. Also, 1950s, we had the time frame where racial integration also happened within the military. So during that time, it was the establishment of human relations mainly. The reason why having it established before and the effects of it now is that we now know throughout the research that there are certain things that are needed within an organization and to assist the management employees. Different things have been reviewed, such as work safety, family, work-life balance, as well as preparedness for retirement. So there are several different things that were researched during the previous time frames that assisted with developing our industrial and organizational psychology and the research that we do now. And the things that we are hired to do is to basically make things better within an organization. Question 2. Describe the socialization process for graduate students in your program. Is the program successful in socializing newcomers and creating job embeddedness? So first I would like to define organizational socialization. It is a process where an individual is transitioned from the outside to become a part of that organization or to become an organizational member. So basically, if a new hire was brought in, they are now integrated into that particular organization. Liberty University, to start off the process of becoming a graduate student and the socialization process, first you would submit your application. You would receive notice that it has been received, and then you would be contacted by an advisor. This advisor is most likely the first person that you'll be speaking with. They'll inform you of several different things, such as the culture of Liberty, and then they'll go over the actual program with you to make sure that this is what you're interested in, or if you wanted to change to go into something else. If you were not sure, they'll inform you of the information to decide between what you would like to do. After you have went through the process with them, basically you're brought in to become familiar with the university and to become comfortable with their culture, the organizational goals, as well as the proficiency of the program. So being that this is an online program, we typically are provided a lot of emails to inform us of different things, such as events. When assignments are due, we are provided notice of it. Also, we're provided with great people who are able to check on us to see if we need anything throughout the program. I'm sure that on campus it is a little bit more easier for socialization. Not stating that this process does not work for Liberty, but it does work because this is an online process. So from what I've shown and the student satisfaction, this is a way that has worked for Liberty. And I will say, as a graduate student, I do feel like I have been provided with the correct socialization process with them. Question 3. How can organizations reduce or prevent work-family conflict? Organizations can do a lot that can change to assist families with balancing their family life and their work life. The goal is to provide that balance for the employees in order to reduce stress and to provide happiness within that, to provide options for them to make life a little bit easier for them. It starts with management. Management could provide flex scheduling, or they could provide teleworking, and this could be something that could have a mother. She'll be able to spend more time with her children if she works nights, and they're going to school and different types of different things that they have going on. Well, if she teleworks, she'll be able to still see her children. So things like that definitely do play an effect with an employee's happiness. An example of a flex scheduling, say a mother had to she had a daughter who had appointments like every Thursday, and she had to use her annual leave for most of the time to take it off. Well, a flex schedule was provided, and she was able to be off every Thursday to take her daughter to those appointments. That could alleviate a lot of things within her life as far as stress. Once she'll be able to make it to the appointments, she doesn't have anyone else to take her daughter, so she'll be able to take care of her with those appointments. And not only that, it'll relieve a lot of stress from her life. So with the options that I provided, I know that my employer, they provide those options. And a lot of people do like the option to telework at home, especially if they live a little farther away from the actual organization. So other things can be offered as well that could assist with the work-life balance, or the family work balance, which would be the opportunities to include extended maternity leave, to spend time with their newborn child, and that's for men as well, because they want to spend time with their child too after they've just created a new life in the world. So I believe that with any of those options, that is something that could definitely assist with someone's happiness in an organization. Question 4. Imagine you have been asked to develop a performance assessment program for employee development. What techniques could you use to adequately evaluate employee performance as comprehensively as possible? Well, to develop an evaluation or an effective assessment, you would need to make sure that you know the job description. You want to make sure that you understand what the job is about, what skills are needed to perform the job in order to be able to create something like that. First, I would like to go over what we would use in order to evaluate. First, we would go with the in-role performance. Second would be extra role performance. Another, which is the third, is downtown behaviors. And the fourth and last would be destructive or hazardous behaviors. So using an example of a bank teller, I'm going to go through these different performances. So in-role performance, this will be task-oriented. Anything, any skill that they had to acquire or that they use during their position, like hands-on skills that they need to have. A bank teller, we would evaluate the bank teller submitting a bank wire for one of the customers. We want to make sure that she's able to, or he's able to, submit it efficiently with no mistakes, and able to get through that process with the customer's happiness intact, because bank wires can take a while to submit if you do not know that skill. The second type is going to be the extra role performance. This is interpersonal skills or behaviors, people skills, if you will. So again, using the bank teller, this is her customer service skills. So say an angry customer comes in stating that it was an inaccurate transfer within the account, and the bank teller comes back with an attitude and not too professional. We want to make sure that we can use that to understand the skill of an extra performance role. Also, with the extra performance role, you want to have a bank teller who can communicate correctly, because without that, without showing empathy, there's different things that you need to provide as a teller or customer service representative. Third would be the downtown behaviors. These are behaviors outside of the workplace that could cause an issue in performance, and an example of that could be drug usage or alcoholism, anything like that that can affect them from being able to come to their job on time or coming to work intoxicated. So we want to make sure that we can evaluate that as well. The last one would be destructive or hazardous behaviors. These are behaviors that are involved in the safety or, and in this case, the safety of the members or customers' funds. One that we would review for this would be a bank teller transferring to the incorrect members or customer's account. This would be a violation, and if it's something that's repetitive, then that might be something that you would need to reprimand them for. Question 5. What are some possible common organizational constraints, and how could they lead to counterproductive behaviors? Some examples of business constraints would be time, assets, liquid assets, resources, knowledge, regulatory compliance, organizational culture, and risk tolerance. All of these are examples of what could affect the organization and become counterproductive within that organization. An example for you would be resources. So say you have an employer who has lack of resources for you to complete your job effectively and efficiently. Well, because of that, now this person doesn't want to come to work. They feel stressed out because they can't finish their job with the correct tools that they need. So this can actually be something that causes low-level sabotage to where they're working against the actual process. The second example that I would like to provide you is going to be organizational culture. So if you were to hire someone, and hopefully you would not, but if you know that someone may not be a cultural fit, you understand that this might not be the right place for them to be, or the right organization for them to be a member of. And due to that, it can become counterproductive, because if they do not want to change, or if they have resistance to change, then that can be a problem within the organization. Also, it could lead to other sorts of negative behaviors and problems, such as abuse, neglecting their job, calling in a lot. There's a lot of absences on there, or in their documentation. So there's a lot of things that could take place with just someone not being the right person within the organization, as far as the cultural fit and the morale that the organization has, that person does not fit. So there are a lot of different examples that I could provide right now, but it is very important to understand that these situations could occur within any organization, and it's up to management and the leaders of the organization to make sure that the employees have what they need, as far as resources, and also to make sure that before the orientation is over, that each individual understands what it means to be a member of that particular organization.